Hey guys, welcome back to Linda's Resin Room. Excuse me. So I've got a coworker who wants a tray for Virginia Tech to give to her in-laws or someone. So I'm going to make her one. She wants the back of this glittery background. It's got the little shimmer of the gold and the blues and things in there. So we're going to do a first layer of that. And I have 200 grams of resin mixed up here, which is 6 ounces. It's a little more than 6 ounces. I did 100 grams of part B and 110 grams of part A, Resin Fans resin. And then I've got some vinyl ordered that's supposed to be delivered tomorrow in the colors that I need to make her BT symbol. So I'm just adding a bunch of this glitter. And y'all know I like a lot of glitter. I want it to be seen. Okay. I think that's enough. And then I've got my clear Elmer's glue that's going to help this glitter to stay afloat. You don't usually need a whole lot. That's just 4 little drops. See what it does. And I am going to put this in the debubbler because I don't want any bubbles on the bottom or around this druzy-like edge. 4 is plenty. Doesn't take much. You want this like the consistency of slime is what it reminds me of. And you can see that. And that will help that glitter to float. I had already mixed my resin up for 3 minutes. And now we got our glitter. I'm going to put it in the debubbler. And I will be right back. Alright guys, so I got it out of the debubbler. I left it in there for 10 minutes. And we're just going to pour this in here. And this is probably more than what I need. So let's just stop there. I do need a layer because I'm going to put stones around the edge of this. And I have to put a top coat over the stones and the decal once I get it on here. Just pushing it to the edges. Want it to fill up all those little crevices down in there. Alright, so how much did I use? I had 6. I have 2 left. Okay. I have a snail from Resin. I think I'm going to paint his shell up real quick and then we're going to fill him up. So let's find a color. Alright, let's look in this Baltic Day foam powder set. Opening it upside down. What color shell do I want to make him? I don't want it to clash too much with that. I want him to really stand out. I always tend to go to the green and the orange because I love green and orange. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Emerald green. Isn't that pretty? And this is the 30 color set. Okay. Let's find a brush. Me and my sloths. I love sloths. I wish I could have a sloth. But you can't own a sloth in Virginia for one thing. And also, I learned when I went to Panama City once, there's a little petting zoo type of thing there. And I spent 15 minutes with the sloths in the sloth cage. And a sloth is my spirit animal because of it will get hypothermia if it reaches 78 degrees. I will too. I think we're related. I like warm weather. I stay cold all the time. But anyways, in Virginia you can't own a sloth. But You can in North Carolina. You can own I think it's a two-toed sloth you can own in North Carolina. And West Virginia does not have any limits, so you can just own whatever you want to there. Thought that was interesting. But you really shouldn't own one if you can't keep the right environment for them. But they are so cute. In their hair, I thought their hair would be really coarse, but their hair is like people hair. It's very soft, and they are almost blind. I learned quite a bit in 15 minutes. They are almost blind, so you have to approach them very slowly. They have 3 sloths at that little zoo. I don't remember the name of it, but I do know it's in Panama City. I took my grandbabies a few years ago, and in the bird cage, my smallest grandson, I think he was maybe 3 at the time, maybe 4 if I'm pushing it. And we went in the bird cage, gave him his little cup of bird feed. A bird landed on him, scared him to death. He screamed, threw the bird feed up in the air. It went everywhere. So I picked it up and, not thinking, handed it back to him. And another bird landed on him and he did it again. Needless to say, he wasn't a fan of the birds. But now the deer and the goats and the giraffe, he loved those. And the oldest one, I don't think anything scares that kid. He'll do anything. Okay, let's use a baby wipe and get right around here where I went over just a little. So I think that's part of his body too. Okay. All right. Almost. I got one little spot I need to get down in there. Okay. I about got the color taken off in that spot, so I took it back. I don't see any color there either. It's almost like it, some places it just a little empty. All right. There we go. Put that back up. Use for later. Now let's fill up this little, he's got some little, what do you call them, his little antenna down in there. I want to make sure it goes down in those spots. I'm hoping this snail mold doesn't get bubbles down in there, because this one is an into-resin mold, and I will link it in the description along with the discount code for 20% off of any into-resin mold. That does include their sales. But his antenna is a lot bigger than the other small snails that I've made in the past. Okay, we don't want to dome that because I don't want to have too much cleanup. Dome a homemade mold, and then you have a lot to trim off. Okay, let's see. And I still have about 1 ounce left, so he only took about 1 ounce. I'm going to move that out of the way. What else? What else can I do with 1 ounce? Well, this is a mold I made myself. I used an amethyst crystal, and I've already put green down in there. I've made quite a few of these with this mold. And usually I do like a solid white layer, and then I do the brown on top. So let's do some glitter down in there. I think a glittery layer will look pretty. Okay, now save room for my last layer of my outer edge. I do like to make some of my own molds. Let me show you the crystal I made that from. It's so pretty. That is the crystal that I used. Okay, and then this will just go down in our dump mold because there's not much left. All right, guys, we will, I think he might need a little bit more, or need, where's my dotting tool? There's one little area. It doesn't look like it's went to the edge. I'm just going to help it along. So I don't think it needs any more in there. I think it just had issues trying to get all the way over. There we go. Now, I think that's good. All right, guys, we'll let all this cure up. We'll come back. I think I've got a bubble, even though I put it in the debubbler. Now, guys, if you're going to torch your molds, I just want to say, don't use a big torch on your good handmade molds. You will burn them, and that's not fun. I've done it once. I have this little butane torch lighter. I got like 4 of them for like $12 off of Amazon. And it doesn't get that hot. Now, I'm not doing it on those. Those are too small. You can spritz those with alcohol if you need to. Alrighty, guys. And you could have spritzed this with alcohol also. But we'll let these cure up. We'll come back when it's time to do the next part of this piece. I'll see you then. So this is cured up. I have mixed up 6 ounces of resin, which is in the debubbler now. And I've got my stones out. So what we're going to do is try to get these decals to stick on here. And this is the transfer. Transfer vinyl. I got to concentrating on what I was doing and forgot what I was going to say. Alright, getting this to come off. I got a little scraper thing somewhere. I just don't know where I put it. So I'm hoping this will work. I'm also trying to make sure my resin doesn't bubble over. I've only got 6 ounces, but I put a little tiny bit for this mixed with some brown mica powder. The Pearl X Jacquard dark brown makes a beautiful color for the back of this in a small cup. And that's the one I don't want to bubble over. Okay. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, it's going to be okay. Alright. Guys, I don't mean to stick my head in your way. Just trying to see where I can get this centered up. It's going there. And usually with the transfer, that just peels right off. Works wonderful. Alright, now let's see about the outer one. This is the one that's going to be hard to get on, because there is a small gap between the two that I want the white to be able to see through. And I got one shot. Okay, I forgot to do the back, didn't I? I think it's the back that makes it stick, not the front. But I do both just in case. Alright, Lord, let me get this lined up. Well, that's where it's going, because that's where I got it. Got it a little too far that way, but I think it'll be okay. Because I don't think I'll get that. I can't even... I have no fingernails. Okay, I think it's going to come up. So maybe we are going to get a second chance. Good deal. All right. Rub that around down there. I do want it flat. Now let's see. Perfect. I don't want it floating up. Okay. Got that. I'm going to have to get some tweezers. Try not to damage this as I'm trying to get that tape off. There we go. I think I got an edge up there. Let's see, there's something black. I think that one's down in there. And it'll be alright. We're going to cover it with stones. So we got that on there. Now I got these stones off of Amazon. This is red jasper. Daggone it, that sticky is still on me. So I'm just going to do like I did the big tray. Now if some of these are too big, I'm going to pick out. I want smaller ones. So these real big ones are not going in there. These were all different sizes. So it's kind of hard to figure out which ones you need and which ones you didn't. As long as they don't stick up over the edge, I'm good. Some of them are quite large. I think there's some other kind of stone that doesn't look red. That one's got some other color. That one's too pointed, too tall, too big. I don't need a whole lot because we're doing different colors. I'm going to take out all of the bigger ones. They look like they're not laying flat. They're coming out. Okay, I still don't need all of those. All right. There we go. Now I have orange crushed shell for my orange. This taped. They always tape these things. I'm glad they do. They'd go everywhere if they didn't, but I have the hardest time getting them open. Okay, I got that one. There. Got that one. Now the one on the edge here. Okay. I think I got it. Same thing. Just gonna get some of the flat ones. We'll probably still get rid of some of these red ones just because we don't need all of them. We want to kind of mix them up. And I thought the orange shell would be really good to bring out the orange. It's the closest I could get to the colors. And then we're just going to put some of the little white beads like we did in the last one. Come on, guy. You're too chunky. Yeah, a coworker of mine's wanting this for her in-laws, I think she said. Can't quite remember. That one's too chunky. But I think it'll be a lovely piece. Okay. I think that's all we need. Now the white beads, I'm going to put them in a little resin. Okay, and our resin is done. Sorry guys, I just had to check, make sure my microphone was on because I couldn't remember if I could put it on. Alright, now I need handles for this because she does want the little handles. So let me just get out a couple here. She wants the diamonds. Okay. Now, get my little stick down here. This is our brown. And like I said, I just took a little bit of the mica powder and mixed in there. And I do mean just a little bit. And we're going to pour this right in here. So we want this to cure up so we can demold it when we demold our tray. Okay. And that took all of that. I'm going to have to move that out of the way. It's going to dump over on me. Okay. Now with our clear resin, I've already got something in my mold. Let me get a piece of tape. You'll see that? I bet it's from the stones. Okay. Push them back. Now we know how the little beads like to run, and that's why they're not going in quite yet. We're going to pour this in here. I think 6 ounces will be plenty to fill this up. If I have to, I'll mix up a few more ounces. Just want to make sure it's getting behind all those stones. Okay. Just pouring right along on top of them. All right. Scrape this out best we can. Now I'm going to take and get rid of this one. So we're going to use my other to scrape this out. Okay, I'm going to lay that over there to where I can clean it. Now, this little thing gets out every single drop. Just awesome. I love that little curved tip. Okay, almost. I think that is about it. Let's scrape this off. I want to make sure that's all good and mixed, that I didn't miss any spots down in there. I'd hate to have a big old uncured spot right in the center. Wouldn't that be horrible? Okay. All right. I'm going to sit that in there, and I'll clean that up in just a minute. Where is my little torch? I'm going to torch this. Be careful around your edges. And I'll probably have to torch this a couple of times when those bubbles all start coming up. All right, now we got our little beads. And these should just sink. I see a few bubbles around the edge. I got these little beads from Laura's Art Corner, I think. She has them in a few different colors. That one's about got away from us. We'll have to move some of these around, I'm sure. But I think these little white ones bring out the white, because there's supposed to be a white between the orange and the maroon in the symbol. Okay, on the lid. Oops, there's one was caught on me. We'll just stick him right in there. Get our dotting tool here. If there's any that's kind of went away, pull those back in. I'm going to try to pull all those bubbles that I see out to the center if I can't pop them, because I don't want to spray alcohol on top of this piece. That one's sticking up. Let's see if we can flip him over or something. There we go. Over next to the edge. He's not poking through. Come on, pop. Trying to get the bubbles here. Okay, there's a little bubble. Get him out there. That one out there. Pop that one. That little sucker out there. Right there's one we need to pop. I definitely don't want bubbles on the top of this when it cures. And with this edge, there could be bubbles. I don't like the way that stone's laying either. He's kind of poking through. I think I might take that one out. I'll get him in just a second. He's getting ready to say goodbye. I'm wondering if I can, like this one is kind of There we go. He's under. That one's got to come out. There's a bubble down in there. I'm going to pluck that out of there. I see some little bubbles around the edge. There's a little white bead. Let's get him down in there. Okay. I think we're good other than that needs to lay down. Here we go. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little torch again that hardly even gets hot enough to pop the bubbles, I think. Okay. Now let's get this one out. I see a couple bubbles over here I'm going to have to handle. I can't get it. I'll let that resin kind of drip off a little bit. There's a bubble there. And there's one down in there. I can pluck that out. I may have to move that to get him out. There we go. Now we can move that back in. Okay. Now, I'm just going to lay that there and let that cure. And he'll just be coated. Alright. Pop these little bubbles here. One more time around. What is that? Did y'all see that? What is that? Paper. I just don't like the way he's laying. Come on, guy, you gotta flip. There you go. Don't you feel so much better? There's another bubble. I got that one popped. The way this edge is, you're not going to really see the bubbles, but if I know they're there, it would drive me crazy, so I gotta fix them. Okay. Alright, now our handles. Just gonna set this in here. And put this one right across from it. I want them pretty close to the edge. So now I'm just going to take the stones that's around it and fix it. So I want to make sure they're not sticking out, and they're not. And this one needs to go over just a little. Now let's fix that. Alright guys, I think we're good there. Clean this off. There is something black in there. There's little pieces of glitter or something. I got them. Is that something on my... Yep. Something on my vinyl. Alright guys, I'm going to cover this over and let this cure up because I don't want anything getting in this and we're overflowing. So let's see if we can do this. This mold's a little uneven. Shoot. Y'all see what I just did? Just dropped my stick right down in there. You know what? That's going in the trash. I'm not dealing with that one. I am going to kind of see if I can prop that up just a little bit here. I believe we're going to have to take out more. All right. Because he's going to overflow some more. So let's just take out a little bit of this. There we go. I think he's good there. And this I'm going to put in my dump mold. All right, guys. That's it. We'll let this cure up. We'll come back for a demold. I'll see you guys then. All right. So these have cured up. So let's see my little homemade stone. Here we go. It's very shimmery, isn't it? I love that little mold that I made. Now, snail. He's got some little eyeballs down in here. So let's see if we can pop him out. No, it's just getting those to let loose of suction is the key to popping these out. Which I've not used this mold before. This was a new one. See if we can stretch it. There we go. Alright, we're going to paint up his little shell, paint up his little face, trim his bottom. He doesn't have any bubbles. He is so cute. Okay, I'll paint him up in a time lapse for you guys. Now, let's see our tray. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? I think she'll be very pleased. I might have to top coat this though. The edges are really not that sharp, but I just smeared something across it. Alright guys, that is it. So, I'll time lapse him up, paint his face, and then I will post a picture, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye for now.